Have you ever noticed how the more you give, the more they expect, and the less they value it? You're always there. You check in. You show up. You stay available. And at first, maybe they seemed grateful. But over time, something shifts. Your presence becomes predictable. Your effort becomes background noise. People get used to you, not because you're not valuable, but because you're always accessible. And that's when they stop listening. That's when they take you for granted. That's when they assume you'll always be there, no matter what. But here's the thing. The most powerful shift doesn't come from confrontation. It comes from absence. It comes from pulling back. Not with anger, not with drama, but with calm, quiet distance. And when you do, the balance changes. Suddenly, the same people who ignored your presence start to notice your absence. The same people who brushed off your words begin to wonder why you're silent. And the silence, your silence, starts to echo louder than all the noise they never cared about. Pulling back isn't weakness. It's strength in disguise. It's how you reset the dynamic, how you stop bleeding energy, how you reclaim your space without begging for it. But let's be honest, pulling back can feel uncomfortable. You might question if they'll even care. You might feel guilty for stepping away. You might feel like you're abandoning something. You're not. You're choosing you. You're choosing peace over performance. Because when they no longer have access to you, they finally start realizing what access meant. There's a quiet kind of power that comes when you stop chasing clarity from people who never gave you confusion by accident. They knew what they were doing. The mixed signals, the inconsistency, the sudden distance, and still you explained. Still, you gave them the benefit of the doubt. Still, you stayed. But here's the truth. The more you try to fix what's not yours to fix, the more invisible you become to the very people you're trying to hold on to. Sometimes silence isn't just a boundary. It's a mirror. And when you step back, they're forced to see themselves without your words to distract them. You stop justifying. You stop overcompensating. You stop proving your worth to people who already decided they don't want to understand it. And that's where the shift begins. It's not about revenge. It's not about games. It's about stepping into the version of you that doesn't explain your existence to stay relevant. Because when you pull back, the silence isn't empty. It's loaded with everything you never got to say. And whether they admit it or not, they feel it. Some people only hear silence when they're no longer being fed by your energy. The space you leave behind becomes uncomfortable for them. Not because they miss you, but because they can't read you anymore. You used to be predictable, emotionally available, eager to explain, to solve, to understand. Now, you're still, and they hate that. They hate that you're no longer giving them the emotional reactions they fed on. They hate that you're not explaining yourself, not chasing, not making it easier for them to avoid accountability. Distance changes the game, because when you're not around to fix the emotional mess, they're left with it. And that discomfort, that tension, that's not yours anymore. That belongs to them. What they call you acting different is actually you acting healed. And the more grounded you become, the louder your absence grows. If this shift in energy speaks to you, subscribe and stay. We're just getting started. Healing doesn't always come wrapped in clarity. Sometimes it looks like confusion, like silence, like distance. It's the moment you choose not to react, not to chase, not to explain, and everything inside you screams for resolution. But you don't move. You stay still. You stay silent. Not because you're weak, but because you're done. You're done trying to fix what someone else keeps breaking. You're done over-explaining yourself to people who aren't really listening. You're done with the illusion that one more conversation might change something. That's not healing. That's looping. Real healing breaks the loop. It says, "This hurts, but I'm not going to bleed for it anymore." It means choosing your peace over their confusion. It means letting go without needing them to understand why. It means accepting that your silence might be misunderstood and choosing it anyway. You see, pulling back doesn't mean you've given up. It means you've grown up. It means you're finally honoring the part of you that no longer thrives in spaces where you're tolerated instead of valued. It means you're recognizing that the weight of clarity is not yours to carry alone. That some people don't want to understand you, not because you're too much, but because they're not ready to meet you where you are. So you step back. You get quiet, not to punish them, but to protect you. And slowly, things begin to shift. Your silence begins to echo. Your absence begins to ask louder questions than your words ever could. And in that quiet, they are forced to feel what you felt all along. You're not disappearing. You're finally taking up space in your own life. There's a shift that happens when you stop trying to be chosen. For so long, you might have bent yourself in every direction, hoping they'd see you, value you, pick you. You tried harder, stayed longer, spoke softer, gave more. But all it really did was teach them that you'd stay, no matter how little they gave in return. And when you finally stop, when you pull back, that's when the silence gets heavy. Not for you, but for them. Because the truth is, People notice absence in a way they never notice effort. They feel distance stronger than they feel closeness. They hear silence louder than they hear words. But you don't pull back to make them feel bad. You pull back to feel yourself again. Because somewhere along the way, you lost touch with the version of you that doesn't beg to be seen. You forgot how much peace there is in choosing yourself. You forgot how strong you are when you stop chasing people who don't even know what to do with your presence. This is the moment you shift from asking, "Why don't they value me?" to stating, "I'm done proving anything to anyone." And in that moment, you begin to attract differently. You begin to value your time, your energy, your voice. You stop giving explanations for your standards. You stop handing out pieces of yourself to people who treat them like extras. You stop trying to be remembered by people who never really saw you in the first place. And instead, you begin remembering yourself. That version of you that doesn't need fixing, doesn't need proving, doesn't need to earn basic respect. You come home to your own presence, and from that space, you grow. Some people never realize what they had until you stop being the one who reminds them. You pulled back, not out of revenge, but self-preservation. At some point, you got tired of repeating yourself to people who only hear what's convenient. Tired of showing up for those who only notice your absence. Tired of breaking yourself down into smaller pieces just to fit into spaces never meant for you. So you stopped. You stopped fighting to be understood by those committed to misunderstanding you. You stopped trying to explain yourself to people who were never listening in the first place. You stopped handing out pieces of your soul to those who treated it like it was disposed. And that silence, that distance, it began to speak, louder than words ever could, sharper than any confrontation. Because silence doesn't beg. Silence doesn't argue. Silence doesn't plead. It just leaves a space, a question, a presence that once filled the room, now missing. And in that absence, reality gets louder. They may not say it, they may not show it, but they feel it. And maybe they don't know how to come back. Maybe pride keeps them silent. Maybe they're hoping you'll break first. But you won't. Because this time, you're not choosing silence to provoke them. You're choosing it to finally hear yourself, to rebuild, to breathe, to rest in the truth that you never needed to earn the love that was meant for you. And now, here's a question I want to leave you with. What if your silence wasn't just heard, but remembered? What if it's echoing in every space you once filled? If you're still here, it's not by accident. You're not alone in this shift. Subscribe and stay with me. This is just the beginning. And if this felt like your story, I'd love to hear how your silence changed everything.